Hello and welcome back to the Aquapod. I'm your host Charlie and I'm here this week with an exciting episode as we preview this weekend's Water Polo Scottish Cup finals in Dundee. I'm joined by Scottish water polo experts Ali Campbell and Fraser MacNair to preview and predict the games. Ali played in last year's final, winning with Dunfermline, and has a host of coaching and officiating experience, whilst Fraser currently plays at a high level in the Bucks Leagues for Strathclyde Water Polo and currently coaches in the Caledonia Water Polo youth setup. The guys will preview and predict this weekend's games with a host of exciting ties lying in wait. We also have details of how you can watch along at home. Without further ado, let's get on with the show. Okay, so delighted to welcome Ali Campbell and Fraser MacNair on to the Aquapod, our water polo experts. How are you both doing, first of all?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Just back from my holiday, so looking forward to the finals on Saturday. Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah, good as well. Got the finals on Saturday, obviously. Going to be a really exciting day. And there's also the Scottish Schools competition happening the day before, so I'm involved in that. So it's going to be a very busy and exciting few days coming up.
Nice, so lots and lots of water polo going on then. That's always good.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's how we like it.
So I thought I'd, get you both on, obviously familiar faces within the kind of Scottish water polo community and, bags of experience between you to chat through the games, but worth maybe having a bit of a chat about the two of you and your kind of experiences within the game. Kind of introduce you both, but it might be worth kind of going through some of your experiences. I know you've both done coaching, both been players in the past and things as well.
So I started playing when I was around about 13. A couple of mates at school played, so went to my local club. I was a swimmer that then decided to go and play water polo. Started playing around 13. Did Scottish junior stuff with Ali's dad, Brian, who was quite a prominent figure in junior water polo at that time, and then went to Scotland under 18s where Ali was my coach. Did a couple of tournaments there. We kind of got the worst deal of the COVID bit, so didn't really get an under 18 season. We had an inter-regions and that was about it. Didn't really get to play most of it, which was a bit disappointing, but yeah. Then went to uni. I've played all 4 years at Strathclyde. We've made semi-final of a Bucks National Trophy. We all just missed out on promotion to the Bucks Premiership this year, so pretty good. And then when I was about 19, I became the Scotland under-16s assistant coach. Did that for a year, and then I was the Scotland under-16s head coach for a couple of years and just finished up in the back of 2024 there.
How do you find sort of balancing the two of those? Can be quite difficult sometimes having that the two heads of being a player, but then also the kind of coaching side of things as well, albeit with different groups of players.
It was a bit of a learning curve to start with because I was quite young. The boys were only like 4 years younger than I was, 3 years younger than I was, so it was a bit of a change just to get used to it. But once you get into it, it's quite easy to switch between the two. Yeah.
And Ali, obviously, it's quite a small world within water polo, and people know everyone, and I've coached different people and things as well. What's your kind of experience been like?
Yeah, I just don't know where to start. I mean, I like back in the day, I used to play a lot. Played Scottish juniors, GB juniors. Went to America for a water polo scholarship for 4 years, and then came back in 2011. Came back here, and then I went on to play Scottish senior. Went to the Commonwealths in 2014, won the bronze. Had a GB senior cap as well in that year, and then I kind of started. Just around the COVID time, I had a really bad injury, and my dad passed, and I kind of moved into the coaching scene. And since then, I've done a lot of coaching. So ran Edinburgh Uni for the last 4 years. Like we won Bucks in 2022, made the final a few years in a row after that as well. Still running the Scottish under 18s. Like Fraser was saying, I used to coach him. That's how long I've been doing it. I'm now coaching the senior men's as well, and doing a lot to try and help out run events. I think the one that everyone will know is the BMC Cup. Like we started that in 2021 in memory of my dad that Fraser mentioned, and that's turned into a real highlight of the polo calendar now. So yeah, I do a lot.
I wonder if you want to maybe go into a wee bit more detail about that as well, because it is, a massive part of the Scottish Water Polo calendar now, the BMC Cup. Maybe just go into a wee bit about how it came about and the kind of structure and things of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, how it came about was I was sitting at my mum's kitchen table one night with my mum and my brothers, and we're thinking, how can we try and honour what my dad's done? And we thought it was impossible, but the thing he always kept going on about is he wanted to give more opportunity to the young players who didn't play enough games. So we thought, well, let's make a tournament and honour his memory and give opportunities to people, which is the most important thing about the BMC Cup, not just the players, but the staff as well and the officials. So it's about giving opportunities to everyone in and out the water. But yeah, it started 2021, one day boys event. This year, for the second year in a row, we're going to run 3 separate tournaments: a weekend full of boys, weekend full of girls, and under 14s as well. So it's exploded, so it has, which is great.
Yeah, and brilliant just to have that kind of outlet for players to play at a level that they wouldn't otherwise get the chance to.
Yeah, and that's it. Like last year and this year again, we've had teams from all over the UK come up to compete. So it's brilliant for like the Scottish teams. They get to play against Irish teams, English teams, Welsh teams. So yeah, that really helps them improve.
Well, I think I've got 2 good experts then, certainly a wealth of knowledge between the pair of you. Before we kind of get on to the games in particular, I thought it might be quite good to speak just about the Scottish Cup in general and, what does it mean to the both of you? What does it mean to players and how important is it as a competition? Obviously, Ali, you winning it last year as well.
Yeah, I won the men's final the last year. Scored a few goals as well, so that was really nice. But it's I think for players, it's kind of the highlight of the Scottish water polo calendar. It's the thing that everyone looks forward to each year for a few reasons. I think it's the one of the rare times. I think the BMC Cup's catching is pretty similar now, but the players get to play in a real atmosphere. So there'll be the music, all the advertisement, there'll be a live stream this year. So like that really adds to it. It's better than just turning up to play someone on a Sunday afternoon where nobody's watching. So I think that's really special, and like all the players know each other, so it's a lot of like bragging rights and a bit of local pride as well. So I think it's a really prestigious event, and it's been running for like years and years as well. So very special.
And how was it, taking that win with Dunfermline last year after a kind of number of years of, falling just short, and it always been quite a kind of close game as well with yourselves in Portobello. What was that feeling like? Because like we've got some great photos from the game last year, and it just looked like an outbursting of relief almost.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. Like you said, Portobello have won it for, I think Dunfermline won it in 2015 maybe, and that was every year since then Portobello won it, and it's like for me personally, like the last couple of years I've lost the final. The one 2023, I missed the penalty that made us lose to Portobello in the penalty shootout. So, like for me personally, to win it after all those years of trying and failing was really, yeah, it was a big relief and yeah, very nice to do.
Mm-hmm. And Fraser, yourself, what are your kind of memories and experiences of the Scottish Cup?
I haven't yet to play in a senior final yet. Stirling haven't quite made it there yet, but juniors we were rather successful, would be how I put it. I don't think at junior polo I ever lost the Scottish Cup final, but I think especially for the juniors, I think it's great because it gives them a proper, actual like kind of professional atmosphere, warm up time scheduled, all that kind of thing. You get out, you do walkouts, player introductions, all that kind of thing, shake hands. Then it's a proper actual game. Like high standard of refereeing, everything's exactly how you'd want it for a finals day, especially under 17s where you really, some players won't have ever experienced that before. I think it's a really great experience for them.
Brilliant. So there's obviously 6 games over the course of the day with, under 17s, then the senior games, and then the 19s. So we've got Warrender taking on Dunfermline for the under 17 female title, with the same club taking on Stirling for the male and open title. Warrender again are in the senior female final, and they take on Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth, with Dunfermline and Portobello fighting out again in the senior male and open. And kind of closing the day off, we've got Warrender against Mingus Hill in the under 19 female, and then Portobello versus Stirling in the under 19 male and open. So what I thought we'd do is we'd have a bit of a chat about the games, guys, starting with the 17s, 19s, and then we'll finish on the kind of senior finals. So starting with the 17s, last year's girls champions Dunfermline are taking on a really strong Warrender team who are, as we mentioned, they're really well represented across the whole day, across kind of male and female and categories, the age categories as well. How do you kind of see this one going? Are there any thoughts around about this game?
I think the theme of the finals day is going to be there's going to be a lot of close games, and like these games could go either way. A lot of them, like Warrender, like in the league, for example, Warrender's beat Dunfermline 18-12, and then Dunfermline beat them 15-10. So it could go either way. Dunfermline probably didn't. They thought the semi-final against Mingus Hill would be a lot closer than it was, but they won 24-13.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, I really don't know. I can't call it. To be honest, it's going to be a very close game, and I think that depends how individual players do on the day for this one.
Yeah, I'd be the exact same. I think this is probably a great start to the day. I think it's going to be a very, very competitive game. I think Warrender might just take the first game of the day, would be my prediction. Warrender by 2 would be what I'd go for.
Okay. Nailing your colours to the mast already.
Yeah. For making predictions, I'm going to stick with my club, Dunfermline. I'll go with them.
Nice. Do you think Dunfermline having won it last year, do you think that has any bearing, or is it just, what happens on the day?
I think it helps if you've been in a final before. It helps the nerves and excitement and stuff. And but yeah, it's a year's gone by, so it's different season, different players playing. Dunfermline have a lot of, I think, younger players on their team compared to Warrender have a few older ones. But sometimes the youth can, the ignorance of youth, right? It can help you. So, but yeah, I think it depends. For Dunfermline, I think it's all on, like, Ava Thornton scored 9 goals in the semis. Hallie Farah scored 8 goals. I think it's resting on those 2 players. If they can produce those goals again, then why not? If Warrender can stop them scoring, then it's Warrender's game.
Yep, certainly sounds like an exciting start to the day. And as I mentioned, Warrender again are in the boys under 19s final. Now their semi-final was a very close game, and they came out on top. And we'll play Stirling, who were also victorious in that semi-final. Kent, how do we see this one kind of shaping up again? It seems like it's going to be quite a close affair.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say, like, congratulations to Warrender, because I can't remember. I might get slapped for saying this, but I can't remember a time where they've had so many teams in all the finals. So I think that's a really positive outlook for the club to have a lot of, especially all the younger groups as well coming through. But yeah, this game the semi-final was crazy. They won 13-11, but they scored the winners in the last 30 seconds. They scored the one to go ahead, wasn't it? Against Mingus Hill. So I mean, that was brilliant. And I think this game again is going to be super close in the league. There's not been more than 2 goals between the teams. Stirling, they've won 13-11, and Warrender's beaten them 11-9. Sorry, start again. Stirling beat them 15-13. Warrender's won 11-9. So I think this game's going to be super close again. If I had to, Fraser's probably going to pick the opposite team, but I'm going to say Warrender, because they've probably got the best goalkeeper if he plays well, Zach Johnson. And then Charlie Gray's a really strong goal scorer. And Fraser Simpson as well was really impressed in the semi-final, scoring a lot of goals. So Stirling will have to really watch out for those players.
Nice.
Fraser can tell you about his own club.
Well, to be fair, this final's a bit more my speed. I've coached the majority of the players in this final pretty recently. Players that Ali mentioned, Charlie Gray, Fraser Simpson, Zach Johnson, all for Warner. And then when you look at Stirling, the likes of Fraser Van der Meulen and Matt Albra, all Caleb Wilson, all that kind of thing. I can't go against my club. I'm going to say Stirling. I think if Zach plays well for Warner, I think Stirling will be in for a very tough day. But I do think if Fraser Van der Meulen starts scoring well and keeps ahead, I think Stirling will take this. But I do think this will be a very, very close game.
Yep, certainly sounds close, and I think the predictions are going to be interesting because it looks like these are going different ways. So at least you're not kind of sticking to the same one. We'll skip to the kind of end of the day to leave the senior finals to the end, but we've got the under 19 games. Now the girls won. Warrender again made another final, and they made it to the final following a really strong win over Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth. And they take on Mingus Whitehall, who also did really well to make it to a home final. How do we kind of see this one playing out?
I think I've watched the semi-final, Warner won, and I was pleasantly surprised how well they played. Actually, they done really well against Kirkintilloch, so very well deserved to get in the final. Eve Kerr scored 8 goals. I think she's going to be a main player. If she can, some of her shots were from 8-9 metres as well. So I think if she turns up, then Mingus Hill have got will have a really hard day. But the Mingus Hill in their home pool, that helps so much when you've got you have a lot more fans supporting you if you're in your home pool. That's going to be another cracking game.
I was going to ask that. Do you think it really does make a difference? I guess especially Dundee being a venue that's got quite a bit of seating, so you can have that sort of localised support. Does it really kind of make a difference to you as a player?
I think for me personally, yes, it would definitely. And I remember the Commonwealths in 2014, like to get that medal against South Africa. That was the fans and the support that helped us a lot. If we were not in Scotland, then it might have been a bit different.
Yeah.
I think that definitely helps. But then it can add pressure as well to some people. So, what do you think, Fraser?
I'd say it can go both ways, especially at junior level. A bit of support and people get behind you can go a long way, but then you've also got the pressure of you playing in front of your friends and family. For some players, especially playing in a away environment, they might revel in it, might enjoy the fact that they're getting nothing from the crowd, no support. They can play up to it. Some players might enjoy giving a little bit back to the crowd. But I do think home advantage is massive.
Brilliant. And on the boys' side of things, we've got Stirling taking on Portobello. Now, this was the under-17s fixture last year, so I take it there's quite a lot of kind of carry-over, Fraser, from those teams. Do you want to give a little bit of insight into this one?
Yes, so this was our under-17s final last year. It was also our under-19 semi-final last year. This is probably my game of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
This is probably my game of the day. I've again coached a whole lot of these boys. This is going to be a very, very interesting game. Two of probably the best junior male players in Scotland, one on either side, with Joe Matheson for Portobello and Jason Dixon for Stirling. I think Stirling's team might be slightly deeper. I think the bench could come into play for Stirling. Portobello's big three, however, would be how I call them, Joe, Lorcan and Ben, are all going to be very tough to stop for Stirling, and Stirling are going to have to watch themselves, behave on the foul count, watch their majors. But I do think Stirling's bench and Stirling's depth in players will be what carries them through this, and I do think Stirling will win this one.
Yeah, this is going to be an amazing game. Like, if you're going to watch any game, watch this one. In the league, they've drawn 18-all. Stirling beat them 24-21. That game could have gone either way. And then at the BMC Cup last year, with the same age group as Saturday, Portobello beat them in the semi-final 11-6, and quite surprisingly beat them. Portobello played really well, so that wasn't a surprise. It was probably a surprise how much they beat them by. This game could go to penalties because it's going to be super close, and it depends. Yeah, it depends on Joe Matheson. He scored 10 goals in the semi-finals for Porty. He kind of carries them through a lot on the goal scoring front, so it depends if Stirling can stop him or not. And then it depends if Stirling, their depth and bench, can outplay Portobello, which they couldn't do in the BMC Cup. Portobello played really well as a team, and a lot of the younger players stepped up. So yeah, I'd go for Stirling if I was going to if I had to pick anyone. But this could go either way, or it could go to penalties. It's going to be a cracking game.
With the sport of water polo being, relatively small in Scotland, do you tend to get these kind of rivalries popping up as well, where you're playing teams quite often, and you know a lot of the guys, and there's second claim clubs and things like that as well, isn't there? So is there quite a lot of that goes on between these age groups?
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially with the Portobello Stirling one at juniors, I think that's been a final for at least both of the ones I've commentated on. There's been a Stirling Portobello male and open final. One of the under 17s games that I played in was a Stirling Portobello. One of the under 19s games I played in was a Stirling Portobello. So it seems to be one of the ones that pops up quite a bit with the boys' side of things. On the girls' side, it's their senior final. It's not our junior final for the first time in a while, but Dunfermline, Kirkintilloch was both junior finals last year. I think it was both junior finals the year before that as well. So it's one of the ones that on the women's side kind of pops up more.
Yeah, always keeps it interesting. Then these kind of narratives pulling through. I think that takes us quite nicely onto the senior games. So we'll start with the senior female, where a new champion will be crowned. Dunfermline aren't in the final after their victory last year, and it will see Warrender compete for the title against Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth. Was that a bit of a surprise not seeing Dunfermline coming through there, and what are we kind of expecting from this game?
I don't think it's a surprise. Dunfermline, a lot of their older players have not played this year. Have moved, like Niamh Maloney now lives in Inverness, for example. A few of the older players are not playing or kind of moved clubs. So it's a really young team. But Dunfermline only lost by 1 goal to Warrender in the semi-finals, despite having a bit of a younger team. So they weren't far away from making the final again.
Yep.
But yeah, Warrender obviously were in the final last year and didn't win it, so now they've got a real chance to try and win it. Kirkintilloch, on the other hand, I think this is their first Scottish Cup final for the senior females. So that's a big incentive for them to go for it. Interestingly enough, last year Kirkintilloch lost to Warrender in the semi-final on penalties. Oh, wow. So there's lots of little stories going on here in this one. And I think this will be a really interesting game.
No, it definitely sounds like it's going to be that way. What's your thoughts, Fraser? Do you think it's going to be a close one?
Yeah, I do. I think Warrender got a wealth of experience with making that final last year and beating Portobello on penalties again in the semi-finals the year before that. Oh no, last year as well. But yeah, I do think Kirkintilloch will win this one, as it's a very similar team to the one that they play in BWPL with. They train together pretty consistently with quite a large group. I do think this one will be Kirkintilloch with their first senior female title.
Well, big call, but we'll go with you on that one, and looking forward to seeing that. We'll end the kind of look over the games with what was arguably the kind of game of last year, and last year's winner Dunfermline fought off Stirling to set up a showdown with familiar foes Portobello, who came through the semis with a big victory over Mingus Hill. Do we think that there's going to be revenge this year, or do we think it's going to remain in Dunfermline?
Obviously, I've got to say it's going to stay with Dunfermline.
Yeah.
This is going to come down to who turns up on the day, I think. And I think last year, like, Dunfermline really turned up, and Portobello, I think, were a bit disappointed with how they played. So yeah, there's a whole raft of things like Dunfermline. I guess the bad thing for Dunfermline is Rory Nesbitt got called up for GB, which is great for him, but it means he's not playing in the cup final because the GB he'll be playing Netherlands instead for GB at the weekend. So that's a big loss for Dunfermline. And I think they're missing a few other experienced players, so that could tie into it. But yeah, it depends what Portobello turn up this year, because last year I don't think they played as well as they think they could do. So it's going to be really interesting. But I'm going to have to say Dunfermline, aren't I?
Yeah. You obviously mentioned Rory there, so we should give him a shout out for his call up, which is fantastic. And I think he got an MVP last weekend, didn't he, in the kind of warm up tournament. So brilliant to see that and see him playing so well in his first kind of senior call up as well.
Yeah, against Slovakia, he was MVP, scored 2 goals, and it's like we were talking about earlier. We're talking about like coaching, and like how I've done it for ages, and Fraser's come through coaching and on to playing now. And I think Rory was, like, on a personal note, he was one of the first players I started coaching when he was like 15.
Yep.
And to see him now come through like the Scottish junior boys, he was the year above Fraser. Then he went to Edinburgh Uni and was captain, won bucks there, and now to go and play GB men is like, as a coach, it's really rewarding to see like that kind of progression. And he's brilliant attitude, works hard, really good player. So it's really well deserved that he's getting the success that he is just now.
Yeah, and like you say, it kind of shows that real progression as well, and a real pathway for players in Scotland to aspire to get on that kind of GB scene, and shows that it is possible as well. Fraser, you're probably a bit more of an outsider looking into this one. You maybe look at it with slightly fresher eyes. What do you think the outcome of this is going to be?
I wouldn't bet against penalties again. It happened 2 years ago. So I've commented both the last 2 finals. Obviously with Dunfermline kind of pulled away a wee bit last year. Portobello didn't really turn up early on. Dunfermline really capitalised early on in last year's one and just kind of didn't really have as big a game as I anticipated last year. And then the year before that, there was red cards. It ended up in a penalty shootout, a draw. Fortunately, I did miss a penalty, was not great.
Thanks,
and
Fraser.
Joe Matheson, who we spoke about earlier for the under-19s final, scored the winning penalty for Portobello. I think he was like 15 at the point or something like that, which is pretty impressive. But I'm going to go Dunfermline. I'm going to go Dunfermline, but penalties, I think, is a very good guess.
Well, I think that's a good way to end that. You both going with the same teams. I think what we'll do is, obviously, you mentioned your predictions throughout, but if we maybe go through them so that we've got them in one after the other, so we'll do that if that's possible. So we've got Warrender, Dunfermline, and the under-17s female. What are we going for?
I'm gonna say Dunfermline. Dunfermline for that.
I'm gonna go Warrender.
Go Warrender, and then in the male side of things,
I'm going to go with Warrender just because I've seen them play in both rounds so far and they've been really impressive. And coming through that semi-final was a real, hopefully give them a real confidence boost. So I'm going to go Warrender.
I'm going to go Stirling. A lot of these boys have been there, done it last year. It's Warrender's first under-17s Scottish Cup final in a while. I think it will Stirling.
And moving on to the senior games, we've got Warrender against Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth.
I'm gonna say Kirkintilloch, but it depends. So I watched their semi-final and they didn't play very well. I think their coach will admit that as well. So if they turn up, I think they win. If they don't turn up, then it could be Warrender. But I'm gonna say Kirkintilloch will pull through.
I'm on Kirkintilloch as well. Same reasons for Ali. I think if the Kirkintilloch that we know can play turns up, I think they'll win this game. But if not, Warrender are more than capable of taking this away from them.
And obviously both going for Dunfermline for the senior men as well. So interesting that we've got kind of similarities on that side of things. But for the kind of last games of the day, we've got the under-19 female and male. What are we going for that under-19 female tie between Warrender and Mingus Hill?
I'm gonna say Mingus Hill, home advantage.
Okay, nice one. Fraser?
I'm going Mingus Hill. Family loyalty has to play in here. Lucy's playing for Mingus Hill. Can't really vote against her on that one.
Nice. And the last game of the day, Portobello against Stirling as well.
Yeah, on paper, Stirling have a deeper squad, but that didn't help them in the BMC Cup. So, I'm gonna stick with Stirling. But this is game of the day, like Fraser said.
Yeah,
I'm going Stirling. I can't go against Stirling.
And lastly, across the whole day, who do you think is going to be the top goal scorer?
Joe's playing in 2 games and he's going to score you'd imagine if Portobello win the under-19s, he'll score a lot of goals. So I mean, but it's so hard because every game's different. But I mean, Joe's playing in 2 games, then that definitely helps.
And Fraser,
Emily Lake would probably also want to look out for, playing in both the 17s, 19s, and then potentially the senior women's. That's 3 games.
Yeah.
I guess that one's just a case of how many games you're playing. You've probably got a higher chance, don't you? But a bit of a shoot prediction for you both. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of comes together. Just before we kind of wrap up, you're both going to be doing the kind of in-venue commentary. Are you looking forward to doing that, and how do you kind of enjoy that kind of thing as well?
Yeah, definitely. It's great fun. This is my 3rd year in a row. So first year was at Tollcross. Second year was at so last year was at Olympia, again at Olympia in Dundee this year. Mm-hmm. It's a great venue. You're sat right above the pool, so you can kind of see everything that's happening. Only issue is you do get cut off by the wave pool noise, but apart from that, it's a great venue. Everyone runs pretty smooth. You get a great view, and we've got some interesting games coming up, so it should be great fun.
Brilliant. And hopefully we've kind of made that sound interesting and exciting for everyone at home. Certainly a lot of exciting tussles to keep an eye on. If you are interested in coming along, there are tickets available on the door, and the details are on the Scottish Water Polo Facebook page. We are also hoping to live stream the competition, subject to good internet connection at the venue. The first game is at 8:45 on Saturday, but timings are subject to change as well. But yeah, hopefully people are tuning into that at the weekend or coming along and supporting the teams as well. Just lastly, thanks very much for joining me, Ali and Fraser, and enjoy your Saturday, and I'll be there enjoying it as well.
Cheers.
Thanks again to Fraser and Ali for coming on, and here's hoping this weekend is going to be filled with exciting water polo. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.